stick it where the sun doesn't shine. You know, I know exactly who you are. The term shill, yeah. The term traitor, yeah. Oh, there's no question about the other one. The people who sided with, and they told those stories about poor Gaddafi. Well, in March of 2011, Saif Gaddafi was in Tel Aviv buying night vision equipment and hiring mercenaries. He asked for 50,000, but they all didn't arrive. No, 3,000 dead, and we caught them.
Let me, what about what is happening here? Now, you talked about the Constitution being, but we did, you and I both took an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. In my opinion, that's why I started the militias, that's why I started the Free American, and that's why you're doing Veterans Today. You want to, can we bring it back? Can we change anything? I want to know what I can do. I've tried to do everything that I can think of. I started Free American, it got closed down. I started a motorcycle magazine, it got closed down. It's all the stockholders in the company that bought one of my companies, were contacted and told how anti-Semitic I was. Now I've tried to do something. I'm still trying to do something. And but what can we do if everything we do is already trumped? If we got no Constitution to support, are they just going to, and are they doing it right now, turning the veterans and the patriots into the bad guys, turning us into al-Qaeda, trying to set us up for that? And they've already killed people like Jerry Kane, just shot him down in Walmart. There's the veteran here. They kicked in his door. No drugs. No. Oops. Oops, I didn't. We lost you there for. Glad you called back.
That was me. That's a morning issue I have here. I'm using one of those walk-around phones, and a more intelligent person would probably go down and buy a new battery for it. Anyways, you're trying to tell who the crooks are. The crooks are the Julian Assange people and the WikiLeaks people, and that means you are a shill, and it also means you're a pro-Gaddafi person, and you told these stories. You said that the Egyptian or the Libyan people are being given everything by Gaddafi. He's standing up to Israel and the United States. He's preventing that secret bank from coming in. Well, what he really did is Gaddafi attempted to put a Federal Reserve bank owned by the Rothschilds in Africa, printing a single currency, backed by all of my gold. Well, Gaddafi's gold would have gone in the back of a pickup truck. What he was backed by was the Rothschild family, but he doesn't know the Rothschild family. Well, the Rothschild family summers in Montenegro. Montenegro is a kind of an offshoot of Serbia. If you go to VeteransToday.com and you look at the editorial board, look under Serbia, and you'll find the names of, and you'll see the word general and admiral behind the names there. The people that run their army, war college, and other things, intelligence services, work for Veterans Today, including Nathan Rothschild's next-door neighbor, where he had the pleasure of watching the Gaddafi family cavorting with the Rothschilds, their best friends, along with, of course, Mr. Cameron, the Prime Minister of Britain. But the Rothschilds have owned these people all this time. Where Gaddafi comes from, and if it's a big secret, Gaddafi was put in office in a bloodless coup in 1969 by CIA Director Richard Helms. Gaddafi was the protege of Richard Helms. And between then and 1981, when Bush, George Herbert Walker Bush, chose to use Gaddafi as a fall guy to blame for his attempted assassination of Ronald Reagan, Gaddafi was a prime CIA asset. another person who was a prime CIA asset for his entire life, every day of his life, pretty much, for reasons of his own, was Osama bin Laden. And, you know, he had that talk, I think I mentioned, with Lee Wanta, who was the CIA handler and Reagan's intelligence chief. And of course, the interesting thing, this is the internet rumor thing here. You know, Osama bin Laden, they called him Tim Osman. Well, I'm asking Lee, what did you guys call Osama bin Laden? Well, we called him Tim Osman. Well, why? Well, the guy spoke perfect English, or sort of perfect English, a little bit of an... You mean all those tapes on TV? Those weren't him. He died in 2001. Well, what happened? The guys with him buried him. The U.S. sent in a special forces team. They picked up his body and took it to the sandbox. What's the last time you met with him? I met with him in Peshawar. We had to buy Stinger missiles back from him. We'd recovered some that had hit the market there. We didn't want those to go into other people's hands. Bin Laden got them all together for us. We paid him for the missiles. And I said, how much did you pay for them? I said, that's a secret. I can tell you I bought them. I can tell you where we met. I can tell you what kind of sandals he wore. I went through all of this, word for word, the last meetings with the U.S. Then I asked, when did you guys get angry at Osama bin Laden? I said, never. Well, what were his responsibilities for the CIA? Is that his primary responsibility, a lot of people thought his biggest responsibility was helping us supply the Mujahideen to fight the communist government of Afghanistan, and while the Soviet forces were there, them also. But his primary responsibilities, he represented the Central Intelligence Agency in Saudi Arabia and was our primary contact between the CIA and the security services of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Now that's why I know for sure to be the truth. People can tell you anything they want about when he died and when he didn't die. What I wanted to get to about that Huffington Post story that I'm just hating to talk about, and I believe it to be true, that Osama bin Laden, I keep saying this, Barack Obama, Osama, I tell you, I've been listening to Rush Limbaugh too much, but I actually don't listen to him at all, although I think he's a funny guy, you know, not ha-ha funny, but funny, certainly. That Obama was going to come in and arrest Bush and Cheney. That was his plan. And he was warned that he was going to be assassinated. Now, this is, there's stuff in the story, there's stuff that wasn't in the story. The story says that he was going to have the Bush administration in toto arrested for war crimes.
Now, who was going to do this? Who was going to do this?
Barack Obama was going to have the entire Bush administration and the leadership of the Republican Party jailed for war crimes. And I will tell you, are they guilty?
Yes.
Well, if you're President Bush, go try to travel to Canada. You can go visit the Windsor Casino. You can't travel to Canada. There's an arrest warrant there for you. Most Republican leaders from the Bush administration have international arrest warrants for war crimes. Among those war crimes was the perpetration of 9/11. That inside the U.S., there was a discussion of arresting President Bush, Vice President Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, Ashcroft, Condi Rice, Paul Wolfowitz, that entire gang, to arrest and try them for the planning and execution of 9/11. And that it wasn't done because it was believed that groups within the military, known as the Dominionists, under a group that follows General Paul Boykin, and one of my good friends in Special Forces was his chief of staff for years. He said Boykins went totally bonkers, absolutely nuts. But that the members of the military would have assassinated the president and staged a coup d'etat. And then the apologist stand behind this in the article that actually did hit print past the censors that allowed some of this to come out said, of course, well, it would look like he was being vengeful and they'd block his economic programs. Well, no kidding, the Republican Party has done nothing, and especially since the Tea Party was allowed to get in, which of course is a pack of Israeli spies that are owned by Wall Street banksters that Americans, oh my heavens, if it's one of you out there, go into the drawer, get a hammer. I'm not saying to hit yourself in the back of the head or something, but make sure you've got it in your hand. Next time you get near a voting booth or start talking to people, consider making good use of that hammer, because the stuff inside your skull isn't good enough to make scrambled eggs out of. This is the biggest pack of criminals on earth. I absolutely hate politicians. I'm a member of the Republican National Committee and have been since 1986. Look up the records, boys.
Well, I refer to the Republicans and Democrats as two wings to the same bird. So what do we do, Gordon? I want to know what. Look,
Clay,
wait a minute.
Clay, I'm going to tell you that let me jump in on here in this, and you know, I say the same thing myself, and it isn't true. If you think you're being run by others, and it's not that magic Jewish conspiracy, the magic real conspiracy is most of the people that hate you. If you think it's just Jews, I'll tell you 95% of those evil people out there go to Christian churches. They aren't Jews. There are certainly Jews out there involved in a conspiracy against the U.S. They're the sales tax of the group. I can tell you what's in common with most of those people. The people that hate this country, that are screwing your family, what they are Republicans. Now, as far as Democrats go, on foreign policy issues, I'm an expert in several areas of foreign policy. I travel a lot. There's stuff I know a lot of things about that frankly none of you want to hear about, which is pretty good, because I don't even like talking about it, even if I get paid. But there's stuff I know. You want to know about Afghanistan, the tribal situations there, Pakistan, West Africa. I'm the A-list guy to go to, even for the Council on Foreign Relations. I'll tell you all about this stuff. When I left Nigeria, I was there during the inauguration as guest of the president. I sat through hours and hours of security discussions with the heads of the government. I can't say I approved anything, but they have a much better understanding of how bad things are and what's happening to them than they did before. And you've got a president over there, good luck Jonathan, who was properly elected and faced with running a country that is within horrible problems, a wealthy country that's bankrupt, and is going to try to fix that. Is he going to be successful? I don't know, but he sits down and listens to me. Now, whatever that tells you.
Okay, now
Democrats and Republicans are not the same thing. The people who tried to destroy Social Security and who have turned this country over to Israel are Republicans. The problem is that Democrats are like a pack of chickens. It's the most disorganized bunch of idiots in the world, and many of them are traitors, absolutely. But every Republican is a traitor. Every single Republican is a traitor. Never vote for any Republican. They are all owned by Wall Street, certainly the Israelis, but foreign influences of one kind or another in total lockstep. You cannot join the Republican Party without being a slave.
Okay, now I think we're all slaves. I mean, it's, as long as you're paying this interest, property taxes, the gasoline taxes, you're a slave. But let me ask you. You made the statement that we were taking over. 1913. We're basically...
absolutely.
Okay, now wait a minute.
The Federal Reserve System made the people of the United States slaves.
Gordon.
From that day forward, every discussion that went on from Alexander Hamilton onward was about a bank.
Gordon, I agree with you, and we've talked about that. Now, what I'm asking you, as with your history in Vietnam and your history and your knowledge I'm talking about right here in this country. I think that you and I are being portrayed by the whoever, Israeli, CIA, Mossad, as the potential terrorists. That's what the fusion centers are for, to take over our cops. What do we do about strategically? How do we impose this? The only way I thought I had two ways. One was disseminating the information, and they've systematically closed my access down to my website and libraries and that.
And see, I'm a hybrid to this extent. I maintain cordial relationships with groups within Western intelligence agencies. The CIA does not hate me. I don't. I have access to a lot of their information. I don't spill it. I don't. I do go after, and I'll use the term CIA, and I really don't mean CIA, and they know this. The big issues. You know, they talk about the oil, everything's about oil. Oil is small change. The big money is drugs and arms. It's about drugs, it's about arms. Drugs first. Drugs produce more profit 10 times over than oil. And the biggest thing the U.S. government is involved in, and I have sent you people to help you work on this and to help you break that story.
Mike Harris will be on my show Monday.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about how the people in the American government are going to move millions and millions. That border with Mexico is more open every single day, and they aren't just flowing into Arizona and wherever. They're flowing into the state of Washington. They're flowing into Canada. They control Maine. They control Connecticut. They control Vermont. Drug money.
And so that whole story is up on my website under Mike Harris's name. You can click on that. You can go right to his story about that, and he'll be on my show Monday. You know, I wrote a book 40 years ago.
We're gonna run Mike for senator there, and you guys had a chance to put a VP guy in the governorship last time. You didn't get behind it. We're going to try to put Mike in the Senate, and we'll try to get someone in who will be able to put his foot up the tail end of this conspiracy here. And Mike, of course, is and I have to make these exceptions. Mike's a Republican, but Mike's one of my guys. Oddly enough, you know, when the Tea Party got in, this is why I get after John Kaminsky. One of my guys was Alan Grayson. Alan Grayson's a Jew. He marches up and down saying, let's save Israel all the time. He never means any of that. They had to get rid of him. They spent millions. The Israeli lobby spent millions to get rid of him and 6 other Jews they couldn't trust. Who could they trust? They wanted Tea Party in there, Tea Party people in there, because they knew they could own the Tea Party. Load them all in a plane, like the 81 recent members, and 26 of them were Democrats, by the way. Take them into Tel Aviv, set them up with little boys or little girls, and if it's male politicians, I don't know what it is, but you can't go to Washington unless you want to have sex with small children. I can't exactly tell what it is, but it's a disease there. It's a disease we're finding in Christian fundamental sects across the western U.S. is we are uncovering huge, I won't call them congregations, I'm going to call them covens. But sex with children is what holds all of these people together. And there's supposed to be something genetic in us that tells us to take care of our children. And certainly not to destroy them. And I know if you're following the news on this, you know, one story after another comes out, but it goes 100 times further than that. Here, with the Amish, certainly with the Mormons, very, very much with all of the Baptist organizations, the Dominionist organizations. I'll tell you, if you want to have that certain part of your body that you sit on destroyed, join the Air Force Academy. If you want to be gang raped in the shower, it'll happen at the Air Force Academy, because That's exactly what they do there. You know, we used to hear about that Britain.
Now,
Britain,
the lady that I just had, Christy Chakowski, she's being persecuted for being a part of she was part of the Minutemen, or got involved in the Minutemen, and found out that they were working for La Raza, working hand in hand with La Raza to create division between us.
Every organization, this is a warning here. I look for people to join together with. And you know what? There's two of us on the telephone. I trust you. You trust me. Past that, my list gets pretty small. I have